Carmel College, very iconic in Bengaluru. Should colleges, ladies and gentlemen, have the right to decide what students should wear? They are adults. They have a right to vote, for God's sake. Most of them, they turn 18. That's the question sparking a debate in Bengaluru after a campaign opposing Mount Carmel College's dress code went viral. The rules ban, count this, flip-flops, cargo pants, sleeveless blouses or tops, colored hair, and even printed t-shirts. Students say the checks at the campus gate feels kind of humiliating and amounts to moral policing. Some allege they have been sent back home for minor dress violations like pants with pockets or a sleeveless dress or blouse worn under a shirt. I mean, please, not even a dress. You wear a sleeveless kind of a t-shirt or a blouse and you wear a shirt, go back home. Male students argued that such rules actually create fear amongst girls instead of making them feel safe in the environment. Faculty and administrators, however, insist that dress codes are about decency, quality and discipline. They claim uniforms and simple clothing reduce class divide and help students focus on academics. But critics disagree. Former university leaders, professors and several activists argue that ideas of decency are subjective and very patriarchal. They warn that unilateral rules risk stifling expression, creativity and even fundamental freedoms. So, is the dress code about discipline? Is it about equality? Or does it cross into surveillance and control? That's the clash playing out in Bangalore's classrooms today. First, my colleague, Sarah Fazal, who is joining us from the newsroom and is a Mount Carmel alumni. Let's go across to her to get first-hand information and opinion, as it were. Sarah, thanks so much for joining the South Indian.
Thank you.
Now, you know, I think you are a very, very important voice, Sarah, considering you went to that college. Was there a dress code when you were studying there, Sarah?
No. So, if I have to put it this way, there was a dress code prescribed in the diary, in the curriculum of the college, which basically just spoke about how students would have to ensure that modesty needs to be maintained and ensuring that they wouldn't breach anything that would go against the college guidelines. But for me to listen to this new rule coming in, we're strictly enforcing what needs to be worn, how a certain attire has to be, prescribing certain things like no hair color, what your nails need to look like, what your face needs to look like. I think to a very large extent, this does amount to a little bit of controlling students and somewhere creating a trust deficit between the management and the students, according to me, from where I see it.
Sarah, a lot of principals are saying, well, when you signed up for the college, it is there. Like you say, it was in the diary. And modesty, now I do not know what modesty is. Is this modesty because I'm wearing a sari? Tomorrow, if I wear a sleeveless blouse and a sari and I go to college, I mean, you may stop me at the gate saying, are you wearing this? Who defines modesty? And if you know, this can go beyond whatever it is. I do understand that if you're going there wearing bizarre clothes and creating a kind of an attention, and if you're making yourself unsafe, I can still take it, Sarah. But this is a bit too much. But tell me something, because it was there in the diary, Sarah, did you ever, you or your classmates, feel that it was there in the diary, but we wore this, but no one stopped us? Or, oh God, we got stopped because it was there in the diary? Tell us both scenarios.
Not at all. In fact, if I have to put it this way, the first scenario, it was prescribed in the diary. Back in my time when I was a part of Mount Carmel College, we enjoyed freedom to a very large extent to wear what we really liked, whether it was anything to do with ethnic wear, whether it was anything to do in western wear, a jeans or a t-shirt, or for that matter, even when we had special days like these special occasions where we were asked to wear saris and come to college. I don't understand the entire brawl that's happening over don't wear this on normal days, but if you have occasions in college like fests, or if you're celebrating an ethnic day, if you're going to wear a sari or a blouse like you mentioned, that's not going to create a big deal. But otherwise, on normal college days, you better cover up as a sign of modesty. Now there again, we're coming back to the same point. Me and my friends never really had to think about whether we are going to be pulled up for wearing a certain attire, and we never did. We never did. Neither did our faculty members, neither did the management, neither did our principal at any given point of time ever come and point out to us and saying, oh, you're wearing a sleeveless top, and that's not allowed. So I think the argument boils down to who defines modesty, what really is modest, and to a large extent, is this really enforcing a dress rule, or are you trying to model police the students by telling them that this is right and that is wrong?
Absolutely, but things seems to have changed, Sarah Fazul. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us on this broadcast. And let me now go across to the experts. We have Cynthia Stephen, who's a social activist. She's joining us, and also on the phone line, Ashok Bhatt, who's DGM Presidency College. A very warm welcome to both of you. Mr. Bhatt, can you hear me? And this is, can you hear me, sir? I'm so, Ashok Bhatt, DGM Presidency College. Has he joined us? Can someone tell me? All right, let me go back to Cynthia. Cynthia, how are you doing, Cynthia? You know, what really matters at the end of the day, I think when I get out of college and do my postgrad, do my MPhil or go abroad to study, how well I did in my, in my academics. No one is going to look at my grades by saying, oh, you wore a short dress to school. What is, these are adults, Cynthia Stephen. To tell them not to color their hair, times have changed. I was different, a lot of other women were different, but that is what, makes us so, this is college. What is with the moral policing and, policing them around? What are you, it's not school.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand. And as far as I know, Mount Carmel has this image of being a very progressive a college which empowers girls and women and girls with higher education. And this kind of a position honestly strikes me as something really ironic. They have broken a lot of molds. A lot of girls who have studied from there have become, icons in their own fields. What are they trying to say at this point? I can't believe that in the 21st century, Mount Carmel's College, which is a backbone of women's education in the city, in the state, talking about this. Plus, what is this about only policing girls' clothes? I read a report in which a boy talks about being asked to cut his long hair, but girls' clothes are really the focus. Okay, it was in the documents, you signed up for it, but there was no strong enforcement. Suddenly, what has made the management
Yeah,
start enforcing?
yeah, I know they wake up suddenly, like Sarah said just now, you heard my colleague. She said it was there, but we wore stuff and we saw to it that, I think college students are very intelligent, very smart. If someone says, listen, just see to it so that you stay safe. I mean, when you talk to a young person, most young people are wonderful. They understand. First of all, we have this image in our head, oh, they are rebellious, they are rebel without a cause. They all listen. They all listen. Cynthia, my other thing is this hypocrisy about, oh, we want to create uniformity. They say, if I am rich and you are not so rich, we should, if we wear something, for instance, when they said that we will introduce a uniform, it is to say that all of us are the same class. Don't you think? It is the most hypocritical thing ever I have heard in a society like India, which is only based on class and caste.
Yeah, well, I think it's ironic to prescribe uniforms for children who have passed 18 and have become adults. Up to 18, okay, they're in higher secondary, it's okay. After that, they should be able to wear the clothes they want. And it's really anachronistic. That is what I was looking for that word. It's an anachronism that a college in a city like, in a cosmopolitan city center like Bangalore is coming up with this. I find it difficult to digest. I wish the management don't do this to the girls. And also, sometimes the solution is worse than the problem, because what they're doing is they're turning girls back from the door, from the gate. You know what that can mean? It can mean that they maybe they have arrangements to be picked up in the evening, dropped in the morning and picked up in the evening. What are the girls going to do on the street the whole day? It's a risk.
Yeah,
I also don't understand that.
Yeah, I also want to ask you, so apparently this is, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Mount Carmel College, which is iconic in Bengaluru about how there should be dress code. The students, some of them have, it's actually gone on Instagram where they've spoken about it. And, you know, of course, the principals and everyone, and 2-3 principals have been interviewed from several colleges, one government college, private colleges, other university professors. Most of them are very scared now, nervous. Scared is the wrong word, nervous to come on air. But most of them say, well, it was there. What is so big about it? Cynthia Stephen, I want to ask you. Apparently, one or two, several students, they came to the college and they were sent back home. This is the same college, this is the same university which will detain those students because of lack of attendance. Oh, you did not come here. Oh, you have failed. You have to sit for another correction course. But how do you send me back because I'm wearing a sleeveless t-shirt and a shirt over it? I can't wrap my head around this, Cynthia.
Absolutely. It is poorly thought through, and I call upon the management to withdraw these enforcements. And it's a waste of time. Let the children focus on studying. Let the college focus on building skills in them, knowledge in them, building their character, and not look at the externals. That's what I would strongly recommend.
Do you
I
think
think
that
parents also need to speak up and let the management
I was coming
know.
to that. I was, Cynthia, coming to that. What about parents? You know, but the thing is that so far as college or school or even play schools are concerned, we are we are a paranoid society. Oh, if I protest, my child will be asked to leave. Don't you think everything works around creating neurosis? Sorry to use that strong word.
Uh, yeah, unfortunately, sir, the situation is quite polarized these days. People are either getting a backlash for having aired their opinions very strongly, or they're very nervous to come out openly with their real opinions because they fear a backlash. So yeah, it's not easy. It's also like the children have said. I have heard some of the children saying that it's a form of one professor, once very senior educationist, a vice chancellor, retired vice chancellor, said that this is a form of self-expression. Dressing is a form of self-expression, and children should not be thwarted in that. That is, when I say children, it's metaphorical. Uh, but and I agree. As long as there's no breach of either morality or taste, there should be within that rubric, broad rubric, very subjective, no doubt. But still, there are certain things that people will agree that it is within. A sleeveless blouse is not that a threat to public disorder, order, or whatever. So we really need to rethink this.
Need to sit across the table. I'm not saying you wear bizarre clothes to office, to college, although I'm all for it. I mean, personally, I think young people who are going to vote and elect, governments in the future know exactly what to do. They do not turn up wearing bizarre clothes at a funeral. They know what to wear and where and how to go about it. However, having said that, Cynthia, in case we say that let the students renegotiate or sit across the table, when they say students will not do it and they will protest, they said that you're teaching students to be rebellious, for sedition. Strong words are being used. I mean, their voice is being curtailed. Somewhere, I think, you remember the hijab controversy, Cynthia Stephen. I mean,
Other contract, other extreme.
I just don't understand that what is becoming of Bengaluru, which was such a progressive city when compared to all the other cities in South India. There is something which is going on, Cynthia Stephen.
I really don't know. Of course, in the hijab controversy, there was a desire to, there was a communal angle to that. Here, I don't see any communal angle as such, except that some kind of a conservatism seems to be at work. So we really need the management to step back and rethink what they have been offering and suggesting, or rather enforcing. The guidelines have always been there, but they were not enforced till recently. And now we are talking about the way they have been enforcing it. And really, I think this is a time for a dialogue on the subject.